welcome to Looking Behind the Mirror, where we examine narcissism and attempt to take our lives back as we make sense out of nonsense. As a quick disclaimer, I am not a professional, and everything I say is based on my personal opinions that have been formed as a result of my personal research and experiences. If you are in crisis, please seek professional help and/or contact your local crisis center. I will provide links below. Today I'm going to talk about something that is a huge problem, and I'm sure most of you have noticed, and that is how angry narcissists are. And you may wonder why they are so angry. I think it's important to recognize this anger because I think that a lot of us can tend to blame ourselves for the anger, because that's really the whole idea. They think it's your fault, and so they're going to try to convince you that it's your fault as well. And a lot of times, depending on the situation, it can really make a lot more sense to blame yourself for that anger than to think that this person just has a pathological nonsense reason to be angry. Your first assumption when somebody is yelling at you and is infuriated and seems to be infuriated over something specific, because that is specifically what they're yelling at you about, it's very hard to even entertain the notion that that's not really why they're angry, and that the thing they're yelling at you about has absolutely nothing to do with why they're angry. That's just so nonsensical that it's not the first thing that we assume. We assume that we must have done something to anger them. If they're yelling at us and they're complaining about something that we've done, doesn't it make sense that we're the ones that made them angry? For anyone that you've known that you believe is pathologically narcissistic, if you really pay attention, and sometimes you really have to think about this because it's not always obvious, but if you really pay attention, you will notice that they are always angry, always angry. And anger isn't always expressed through yelling and throwing things and just acting out in emotional outbursts. Sometimes anger just simmers under the surface. And you know it's there, but sometimes it's so subtle and you're so used to this person always being angry that you don't really notice it. Another way to describe it would be walking on eggshells, where you just know that at any moment this person could lose it. You got to be careful where you step. You got to be careful what you say, because they might be calm right now, they might be smiling right now, they might seem happy right now, but you know that if you say the wrong thing, or if they look over there and they see, I don't know, dishes on the counter, or they look over there and they see their favorite blanket is sitting in the wrong way, folded up the wrong way, or they see your shoes are sitting over there, if they look somewhere and they see the wrong thing, oh boy, it's gonna be a couple hours of hell for you. So you're always like super hyper vigilant, like, okay. I mean, that's somebody that's angry all the time. That's someone who's just right there, just ready to explode on you at any moment. So they might seem happy and calm and in a good mood for maybe even months at a time, but you know there's something under the surface that's just like a room full of gas that if you light a match, it's gonna explode. So why is this? Why are they so angry all the time? What are they so angry about? If they're projecting their rage onto you and they're pretending or imagining that you're the one that's causing all this rage, well, what's actually causing all this rage? Think about it. Think about what it's like to be pathologically narcissistic. Think about how entitled they are, how much of a sense of, I'm the center of all being, I am the center of the universe, the world and universe exists for me. Everything that happens because of me or for me. I am directly connected to all reality. I am the reason for everything. And with that comes, like I said, entitlement. They have a completely unreasonable sense of being entitled to everyone, to everyone's thoughts and behaviors and opinions and actions and what everyone says and how everyone lives their lives. You've probably experienced just how much you are treated like a puppet. Like, I'm gonna tell you exactly what you should wear and what you should do in your free time and what your hobbies should be and how you should do those hobbies. And oh, let me slice that onion the right way. You're not slicing the onion the right way, and you're not putting the right amount of salt on that, and you don't push the gas pedal the right way when you drive, and you don't do this the right way, and you need to, and oh, they're entitled. They feel entitled to micromanage everyone's life, right down to the thoughts that you think. Think about if you've experienced arguing with a narcissist over something that they've told you to do. They want you to buy a certain brand of soap, something like that. I want Dial soap. They're not sponsoring me, but I want Dial soap. That's the only brand I want. Only buy that brand. And you're over here like, okay, I mean, Dove soap's okay, Ivory soap's okay, Irish Spring smells pretty good, but you want Dial. Yes, I want Dial. Dial's the only soap. Dial's the best soap. All those other soaps suck. Only buy Dial soap. And you're like, okay, I'll only buy Dial soap from now on if that makes you happy. Well, Dial's the best soap. Why would you want to buy any other kind of brand? Look, here you are over here. Look, I'll buy it. If that's what you want, then fine, no problem. I'll buy Dial soap. That's what you want, right? I'll buy you Dial soap. Yeah, but you're just doing that to make me happy. You don't really get that Dial soap is the best soap. You're just buying it because you're just trying to shut me up. You don't really care. Yeah, I mean, do I need to care about the soap? I mean, I'm doing what you want. I'll never buy any other kind of soap again, I promise. I'll only buy Dial soap. I know how important that is to you, and I want to make you happy. You just don't get it, okay? I think you get the point. And you probably, if you've ever dealt with a narcissist, you probably know exactly how that conversation goes. Like, you can't win. You can't win until you have completely agreed with them, 100%. Not just to do what they want you to do, but to think like them. Like, they think that they can implant their thoughts into your head. They feel entitled to your brain. So, anger. Imagine that you are going through your whole life thinking that you are entitled to control the thoughts and opinions and actions of everyone around you, that everyone should pay attention to what you think, and that you are the only one that really thinks correctly, and that everyone else is wrong if they don't agree with you and think like you 100%. Think of how frustrating that must be, because that's not reality. That's not reality. And when you walk through the world all the time thinking, that guy needs to wear different clothes, that guy is not washing his car the right way, that guy's driving wrong, why is that person wearing that with the, like, why is he doing his hair like that? Oh my gosh, those guys have too many kids. When you go through life thinking that everyone around you should do exactly what you think they should, that they should live their lives exactly like you think they should, that they should think the things you think they should, that their political opinions, religious affiliations and beliefs, personal opinions on like what coffee shop they should go to or how fast they should drive, that you're entitled to direct everyone. Life can get really frustrating and really infuriating when you really truly believe, emotionally believe, that you're entitled to run the world. You go through life every single day being denied your birthright to control everything. I mean, think about how it feels when someone does something truly idiotic that truly affects you and really messes you up. I mean, that makes you angry, right? I mean, if you can think of an example of somebody doing something really dumb that really screws with your schedule or your life in some way, that's kind of how they feel all the time over everything, because they can't stand to look at somebody doing something the wrong way. Even if it doesn't affect them at all, they feel like they are being personally insulted. They feel this connection to everything around them, not a healthy emotional connection, but a connection as in, I control everything. This is my world. This is my planet. All of these people are part of my story, and they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. That's really infuriating, and that's why they are so angry all the time, because they don't understand on an emotional level that people are autonomous, that everyone's got their own life going, and that everyone has a right to decide how they want to live their lives as long as it doesn't hurt anyone else. They don't understand that. They might cognitively understand that if you said it to them that way, but they don't emotionally understand that. Emotionally, they feel a very deep conviction that they know the right way. They know the only way, and everyone needs to follow that or they're stupid. And that's why they become so cynical and so jaded and so angry all the time. That's why they're always talking down on people, and that's why they can go off on these long rants about like potato chips, because they're just always right at the end of their rope. When you feel completely irrational, unreasonable levels of entitlement to other people, to strangers, points of view, and ways of living, you can't help but live in a constant state of frustration and anger, because strangers and people you know, most people aren't going to consult you every single time they make the tiniest decision. And most people don't care what you think if they've made up their own minds about things. So that's really, really frustrating to live that way. And that's why they are so angry all the time. And to be fair, some of the opinions they have are pretty smart. I mean, they're not all stupid. Some of them have some really good ideas, and some of them have some really good points. But then they have this idea that, well, this is a good idea, therefore everybody should do it, and everyone should understand it, and everyone should agree with me, and there's no other way to do it because this is my way and this is the best way. It's like cutting an onion when you're trying to cook. I have my way of cutting onions, and I'm not really fast at cutting the onion because I like to, I like it to be a certain width. I like the slices to be a certain width. So I cut onions the way I like them because I like how the onions turn out. But if a narcissist comes along and what he thinks is, efficiency, time, you're cutting the onion too slow. Well, I don't care how long it takes me to cut the onion, but to him, he doesn't care how thin or thick the slices are. That's good enough. Just do it faster. You're doing it wrong. Wrong, wrong, wrong. What's wrong with you? And I mean, it really obviously can be that petty. I'm sure many of you know. And God help you if you try to push back on that at all. If you try to say, no, I like the onions this way. I'm good. I really like, and then you get I'm just trying to help you. What? Excuse me. Go ahead and cut them that way. I mean, and you're just trying to cut an onion, So what can you do? What are you supposed to do with this? And how does this information affect you? How can you improve your situation by understanding this? The biggest thing is to understand that their anger is not your fault. You did not cause them to be angry. I don't care if they are yelling at you for 3 hours about the way you cut an onion. Your way of cutting an onion is not why they're angry. They're angry because they have an unreasonable sense of entitlement and an unreasonable sense of the right that they have to tell you how they think you should cut the onion, and you're not cooperating. You're not just blindly just, oh yes, please tell me how to cut the onion. I'm obviously an idiot that can't cut an onion. Your way is so much better. They're infuriated that you're not responding like that. And that has nothing to do with you. That has to do with somebody that has a pathological sense of entitlement and superiority. Somebody that believes that they and only they know the best way to do and think and say and act everything. They are the only ones that know the real answers. That's part of the pathology of narcissism, and that has nothing to do with you. And I know, even when you know that, it's still really hard to really emotionally buy in to the truth that you didn't do anything to cause this anger. But you really didn't. It wouldn't matter how you were slicing the onion. It wouldn't matter what brand of soap you bought. Something set them off because they were always right there on the edge, just waiting to be set off, and anything could set them off. And it has nothing to do with anything that you did. They picked something because they were ready to explode, because they were so angry and they were just reaching that level at the end of their rope, and they were just looking for a reason to erupt in rage. And I want to say really quick that I think when we talk about anger and rage, we imagine somebody throwing things and screaming and veins popping out of their neck and insults and violence. And while that certainly may be what happens, it's not always like that. It could be gaslighting. It could be a little dig. It could be a backhanded compliment, passive aggressive, hurtful things. It could be expressed in a lot of ways. I think that when a narcissist is really angry and they've reached the end of their rope, I think one thing that you're always going to feel is fear and discomfort, like something's very wrong and you're trying to fix it. And again, you can't fix it because it has nothing to do with you, because you didn't cause it in the first place and it's not your fault. Their anger is not your fault. They will try to tell you, they will try to convince you any way they can that you made them angry. You absolutely did not. They were already angry. They were looking for a reason. If they're feeling that way and they want to express their anger and they're at the end of their rope, they will look for a reason. Oh my gosh, you left your shoes on the wrong side of the door. I've told you 1,000 times to leave your shoes over there. Why don't you ever listen to me? And then they will try to convince you that they're angry because you never listen to them. It's your fault. I've told you 1,000 times to leave your shoes over there and you leave them there. You don't care about what I say. You don't listen. You have something wrong with your hearing. And what's funny is sometimes they have never told you where to put your shoes. Sometimes they will just make something up on the fly to explain their anger to themselves. And don't forget that when they're trying to convince you that it's your fault, they're trying to convince themselves that it's your fault. Because living with that kind of rage all the time and that kind of frustration and discomfort, it's pretty horrifying to try to imagine that you have a pathology that's causing that no matter what is actually going on around you, that it's you, that you have a really serious problem. Narcissists don't want to face that. That's kind of terrifying. It's much, much, much better, much more comfortable to pretend that it's your fault, to pretend if you had just cut the onion the way I told you to, I wouldn't be angry right now. If you just agreed with me that Dial soap is the best, I wouldn't be angry right now. If you had just put your shoes over there and not over there, I wouldn't be angry right now. You're the reason I'm angry. What's wrong with you? So I hope that helps. I hope that helps you understand where that anger is coming from. And most importantly, that it's not your fault. You did not cause the anger, and therefore you can't fix the anger. I really hope that any of you that are in a situation like this, that are stuck with someone like this in their lives, I really hope that you do whatever you need to do to be in a safe place to hopefully get out, get away from this relationship, whether it be a romantic partner or a family member or a close friend. This is no way to live, and it chips at you every day, because it is really hard to remember that it's not your fault when you're constantly being convinced otherwise, when you're constantly being gaslighted otherwise. It's really hard to hold on to reality. It's really hard to stay rational with such an irrational situation. And I really hope that you're able to get away from this. There's nothing you can do to fix it, and nobody deserves to live this way. I hope this helps. And until next time, thank you. Bye.